Imagine a society where a king's decree could be overturned by a group of elders no one dared to name. Not in myth, not in legend, in practice, in ritual, in the deliberate architecture of a civilization that understood something many empires never did. That power unchecked is corrupted. This is the story of the Ogboni, the society of earth-bound elders who held the true scales of justice in Yoruba city-state, far beyond the walls of any palace. If you have been following this series, you already know that the image of the Yoruba king as an unchecked autocrat is a colonial fabrication. The Alafia for the Oni of Ife and other Yoruba obas were figures of immense political and ceremonial power. But they did not govern alone. There was another check, older, more absolute, the Ogboni, known as Òsùgbó, among the Egba and Ijebu Yoruba. The Ogboni was the third organ of government, sitting alongside the king and the Oyo Mesi, with jurisdiction over the most consequential decisions in civic life. The authority did not derive from royal appointment. It derived from something the king himself had to respect, the earth. The Ogboni's foundation was Onile, the owner of the earth, the mother from whom all life issues, and to whom all life return. In Yoruba jurisprudence, the earth was not metaphor. It was the ultimate moral witness, and the Ogboni were its custodians. Judicial proceedings were inseparable from ritual. Every verdict was simultaneously a ritual act. Membership was not hereditary. You were invited based on wisdom, integrity, and distinction. A body structurally immune to the dynastic corruption that plagued monarchies. And there was the Edan. The Edan Ogboni, paired brass figures of male and female joined at the crown by an iron chain, were not decorative. They served 5 documented functions: judicial, oracular, healing, protective, and communicative. In the judicial context, they sealed oaths and marked decisions. No verdict before the Edan could be disavowed without consequences. The earth had witnessed it. The casting of male and female together expressed the founding principle. The communal authority must reflect the full structure of the society. Women held membership and roles within the institution. This was not peripheral, it was constitutive. Haven't had episode 1 to 3? Go back, the fall of Oyo, the rise of Ibadan, a backdrop to everything we're discussing here. Now, we arrive at the most consequential power the Ogboni held. They could remove a king. When a ruler was judged unfit by the accumulated moral weight of the elders, the society could compel abdication or death through ritual sanction rather than military force. Among the decentralized groups like the Egba, this authority was so pronounced that the kings functioned closer to figureheads in practice. A standing institution outside hereditary succession, composed of meritocratically selected elders, with the power to remove the highest authority in the land through sacred law. This is not primitive governance. This is constitutional design. Bí ọba bá gbàgbé òfin, àwọn ìlú á rán létí. If a king forgets the law, the people will remind him. Authority is always conditioned. Power has a grammar. Consider what happened in Egbaland in 1946, when the British colonial state imposed direct taxation on market women, while excluding them from every administrative structure it had built. These women did not wait for the Ogboni law to act. Its former authority had already been absorbed into the colonial courts. The traditional accountability mechanism was gone. So, the women built a new one. The Abeokuta Women Senior, led by Ransome-Kuti, mobilized 10,000 women, market women, and educated women together, using petitions, press campaigns, and mass civil disobedience to accomplish what the Ogboni had done for centuries in sacred seclusion. They removed the king. the Alake of Egbaland, Oba Ladakbo Ademola II, abdicated in January 1949. The historian Judith Byfield frames this as women reasserting their role as makers of the nation. What that revolt reveals is a community that understood its own governance tradition well enough to improvise outside it when colonial state has shut the traditional door. The Ogboni had held that argument in ritual form for generations. The women of Abeokuta made it public in daylight, in their tens of thousands. What was lost wasn't just an institution. It was a way of understanding the world, one where law could never be separated from right and wrong, and where power was built from the beginning to answer for itself. The shadows had architecture. The architecture held a civilization. Subscribe, follow on socials at Zakshitu, share. And if this series is adding value, support us on Patreon. Every contribution keeps this research going. Link in bio. And before we go, what do you know about Ogboni? Or what do you think you know? Drop it in the comments. The best histories are built in conversation. I'm Dr. Zakshitu, and this has been a bonus episode of Yoruba History, Identity, and the In-Between. See you next time.